All right, let's dive right into the fascinating world of Silphids, also known as carrion beetles, and how they play an essential role in forensic investigations. Now, to understand how these little creatures contribute to forensics, we need to first understand their life cycle. So, Silphids typically go through 4 stages of development: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. This process is called complete metamorphosis, kind of like how a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. However, the time it takes for a sylphid to go from egg to adult varies depending on the species and environmental conditions. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When a person dies, their body begins to decompose, attracting various types of insects, including our friend, the sylphid. These beetles are generally among the first to arrive at the scene, often within a matter of hours after death. They are attracted by the smell of decomposing flesh and will lay their eggs on or near the corpse. The eggs then hatch into larvae, which start feeding on the decomposing tissue. After a certain period of feeding and growth, they will pupate and eventually emerge as adults. This entire process, from egg to adult, can take anywhere from a few weeks to a couple of months. So, you might be asking, how does this help in forensic investigations? Well, forensic entomologists, those are the folks who study insects and their relation to criminal investigations, can use the presence, stage, and age of sylphids found on a body to estimate the time of death. For instance, if they find sylphid larvae on a body, they can estimate that the person has been dead for at least the amount of time it takes for the eggs to hatch and the larvae to reach their current stage. This provides a minimum post-mortem interval, or PMI. Isn't that fascinating? Who would have thought that these tiny beetles could play such a crucial role in solving crimes? But this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's more to explore about sylphids, so let's keep going. Alright, let's move on to the next intriguing aspect of sylphids, their role in the decomposition process, and what draws them to carrion. But decomposition, as morbid as it may sound, is part of the natural cycle of life and death. And sylphids, they're like the cleanup crew in this process. They play a crucial role in recycling nutrients back into the ecosystem by consuming dead and decaying matter. But it's not just about having a meal. Female sylphids are known to lay their eggs in or near carrion, providing their offspring with an immediate food source once they hatch. Talk about a thoughtful mom, right? Now, let's delve into what actually attracts these beetles to carrion. Much like a fine dining restaurant attracts us humans with the aroma of delicious food, the scent of decomposing flesh is an irresistible call to sylphids. When an organism dies, it begins to decompose, releasing a specific odor. This smells like a dinner bell to carrion beetles. But wait, it's not just about the smell. The stage of decomposition also matters. Early stages of decomposition are particularly attractive to these beetles. But here's another fascinating point. Silphids are not just scavengers. Some species, in fact, are known to be predatory and feed on other carrion-feeding insects. So while they're helping in the decomposition process, they're also keeping a check on the population of other insects. To sum up, sylphids are not just attracted to carrion. They play a vital role in the decomposition process and the broader ecosystem. They're like nature's little janitors, cleaning up after the inevitable mess that is death, and in doing so, contribute significantly to forensic investigations. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the world of these fascinating forensic investigators. All right, let's talk about the environmental conditions that impact the activity and development of sylphids. Now, this is something that plays a huge part in not just the life of these beetles, but also their role in forensic investigations. First off, temperature is a significant factor. Just like in Goldilocks, it needs to be just right. You see, Silphids are ectothermic, meaning their body temperature and metabolic processes are influenced by the external environment. Too cold, and their development slows down. Too hot, and it could be lethal. This is why you'll usually find them most active during the warmer months of the year. Humidity, or the amount of moisture in the air, is another crucial factor. Silphids, especially the larvae, need a certain level of moisture to survive and develop properly. Too dry, and they can dehydrate and die. Too wet, and it can lead to the growth of mold and bacteria, which can also be harmful. Now, here's something you might not have thought of. The type of soil can also affect silphids. Some species prefer sandy soil for burrowing and laying eggs, while others might prefer loamy or clay soil. The availability of carrion is, of course, a significant factor. No carrion, no silphids. Simple as that. And these factors don't just affect the life and death of these beetles. They also play a crucial role in forensic investigations. For example, if investigators find silphids at a crime scene, they know that the environmental conditions must have been suitable for these beetles to survive. Moreover, understanding these conditions can also help estimate the time of death more accurately. For instance, if they know how temperature affects the development of silphids, they can use that information, along with the stage of the beetles found on the body, to estimate how long the person has been dead. So you see, understanding the environmental conditions that affect silphids isn't just about biology. It's about cracking the case. Stay tuned as we explore more about these fascinating forensic investigators. Now let's delve into the various species of silphids and their geographical distribution. This is something that not only gives us an insight into the rich diversity of these beetles, but also their role in different ecosystems and, of course, forensic investigations. There are more than 200 known species of silphids worldwide. That's quite a lot, right? But they're not evenly distributed across the globe. No, these little guys have their preferred habitats and regions. For example, let's take the burying beetle, scientifically known as Nicrophorus. This species is quite common in North America and Europe. They are known for their unique behavior of burying small vertebrate carcasses to provide a food source for their larvae. Talk about a dedicated parent. Huh? This is what design, which is probably the most expensive, most testing, and many of the testing. As the name suggests, these beetles are attracted to carrion and are often one of the first insects to arrive at a dead body. In Asia, you'll find the Thanatophilus rugosus, a species that has been used extensively in forensic studies due to their predictable life cycle and attraction to carrion. Each species has its own unique traits and behaviors, which can be useful in forensic investigations. For instance, the presence of a particular species on a body can give clues about the time and location of death. But remember, these are just a few examples. The world of silphids is vast and diverse, and each species plays a unique role in its ecosystem and in the world of forensics. So, next time you see a beetle, remember it might just be a silphid, a little forensic investigator doing its part in solving the mysteries of death. Stay tuned as we explore more about these fascinating creatures. Now, we've reached the final part of our journey into the world of silphids, learning the methods of collecting and analyzing these beetles from a crime scene for forensic investigations. Forensic entomologists employ a variety of tools and techniques to collect and study these insects. This isn't just about picking up bugs. It's a delicate, systematic process that requires precision and attention to detail. To start the collection process, investigators use a tool called an aspirator, which is essentially a tube that enables them to suck up the insects without damaging them. They also use fine forceps to pick up beetles from the body or the surrounding area. The collected insects are then placed in containers with ethyl acetate, a substance that kills the insects quickly and preserves them for further study. It's important to note that the containers need to be well sealed to prevent any escape attempts by these little guys. Once the silphids are collected, they're taken back to the lab for detailed analysis. Here, the forensic entomologist will identify the species of the beetles, determine their stage of development, and estimate their age. This is done through careful examination under a microscope and by comparing them to reference collections and identification guides. The data collected from these analyses, combined with knowledge about silphid behavior, life cycle, and environmental preferences, can then be used to estimate the post-mortem interval, or the time since death. It's a complex process, but one that can provide critical information in a forensic investigation. Whether it's a question of murder, suicide, or natural death, these tiny beetles can help uncover the truth. So, there you have it. The world of silphids is truly fascinating, right? And their role in forensic investigations is just one part of their story. I hope you've enjoyed this journey into the life and work of these incredible insects. Thanks for joining me